Esta es
This
Global
call is
Telling.
now being
Usted
recorded.
tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up, my boy? James.
What up, David?
Hey, how you doing?
Shh, I can't
What's
complain,
the
man. It's hotter than hot out here. Other than that, I mean, everything's great.
So you're trying to tell me it's hotter than fish grease where you're at? Is that what you're saying?
Man, I
That's
think
what we
it's so
say.
hot right now. I'll put a steak and eggs out, and it'll be cooked within the next few minutes.
Yeah, but honestly, I could cook a steak and eggs on Jesse's stomach. So, you know what I mean? You're going to have to come stronger than that. and that's just from his arrogance.
Damn it.
His sense of self-righteousness. It's a whole other degree. That shit gets into the Fahrenheit.
Jeez.
It's like looking in the mirror.
Man.
Yeah, that's what it is, though, man. So how you doing? What's cracking?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just right here, enjoying my day off. I got to get back to it tomorrow, but man, I guess we recently bought one of those those pools they sell at Walmart, like a 50-gallon or something. So we just set it up over the week. So we're gonna break it in, hopefully a little bit later on in the evening.
You barely got one of them pools, like literally.
Well, they always break. Those things always break. So we always have to get a new one.
How many of them pools have you been through?
Maybe like 3 or 4.
What the? Okay, so look, my sense of measurements are off. I usually knew how to measure grams and ounces.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a 50-gallon pool, I'm thinking like one of them big old. I think what are they called? Doughboys? Is that what they're called? Them big old pools?
I'm not sure what they with.
Yeah, they. I don't honestly. I think that would be an Olympic-sized pool for Felipe. Can you swim in it with little floaties?
Like my daughter could swim in it. Hey, what up, Marlene?
Slide over a little bit just so I can knock this one out real quick while we're doing it. Right here, just so I can. Yep, just a little bit on yours. It'll take me a couple minutes. Well, because I want Jesse to tune in right now. I gotta, the customers are coming in hot right now for this taffy, so I want to mix up a little batch real quick of this taffy. So.
Hey, what up, Maribel Vasquez? What up, Captain Austin?
Maribel Vasquez.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Yeah, Maribel Vasquez. Here.
Ashley.
Was I mistaken?
West, y'all.
Hey, what up, Jesse?
What's cracking? What's going on? How you doing? What's going on to the family at Collect Call?
Yep.
It's your boy Jesse Nava touching down, reaching in.
Yep, Maribel Vasquez is here.
Maribel Vasquez.
Yep.
Okay.
Who else? You said
Texas
something
listening.
Texas. Mr. Techno, Mr. Austin.
We got Captain Austin.
Stone Cold?
Oh, Captain Austin. There we go.
Okay, Stone Cold Captain Austin. All right. Do what you do. How's your guys' Saturday going? How you guys spending this summer Saturday?
Well, James is floating in a little 50-gallon pool.
Sure,
I mean,
about to
like
be.
A sink.
Yeah.
He's basically sitting in a bathtub with some little floaties on.
Okay.
Yep, that's what he's doing right there, But we ain't mad at you.
Is that mustache? That mustache, it won't sink, so I know he'll be all right.
You have to keep some. It's a flotation.
You have the flotation device.
Hey, this thing, it doubles as a flotation device, so I'll be all right.
It's like a duck. It just bobs around on the top of the water.
We have a great topic that we're gonna spread to the world right here. I guess we want. I don't know if you want to wait, James, until some more people pop up. But the topic involves white kids join gangs.
Did you say white, like white, or why?
White. Sound like white kids.
You know what? Let's change it. White kids join gangs. Like, that's gonna cause an out. It's gonna cause an outcrying. White kids are joining gangs. Oh, that's man.
Oh no, we need to do something about this. It was one thing when it was the black and the brown, but these white kids, they're joining gangs. Oh, hell no.
Even the guy from Family Guy, he's like, oh no. Oh no. No, why? WHY. Why do kids join gangs, James?
Man, that's the $1 million question right there, man. If we could figure that out, shit, I am pretty sure we could save a lot of lives.
Hey, we got tons of answers to those questions. We know exactly why kids join gangs. I mean, down to the... I'd be surprised if they get us on any freaking... If they stump us at any time on that question.
Yeah. And are we broadcasting on both platforms?
Yeah, we are.
Today?
We're on both. Yep.
I honestly believe that if there's gangs in the UK, Australia, Switzerland, or all them other places that people come on, I believe that it's our fault. I do. I believe that Southern California. I'm not talking about like they've been doing all kinds of stuff in Europe for a long time. We're talking centuries of gang activity. With the Vikings, stuff like that. Them fools have been clicked up for a long time. But the modern concept of the gang, I believe, is exclusive to the United States. And border towns, generally. I want to ask the guys from Texas if, there's a guy from Austin on here, I think, but it's my belief that the old school gang started in East LA with the Zoo Shooters, the way that we know it today. We're talking about the big brocha, the Zusu look, the baggy clothes.
You're talking about Hispanic gangs, because gangs.
Well, I believe Hispanic gangs kind of. I believe. Oh yeah, because they have the Irish gangs,
the Italians.
Yeah, I'm talking about the modern concept of like what looks like gangs today.
So basically, the Latin, the California gang model.
I'm talking about Bad Bunny, Jesse.
Whoa.
Is he our fault?
Oh wow. Well,
we got a Puerto Rican on deck right here.
Is it even? Yeah, but I don't think he. I think Bad
Reggaeton.
Bunny got too much sugar in his tank to be gang banging.
Jesse, reggaeton.
Reggaeton, he's doing a little more than reggaeton.
Is it our fault,
Bad Bunny?
Hey, have you ever seen me sing a Bad Bunny song, James?
Nah, I have not.
Spanish. Oh man, that's so.
Hey, do you listen to Bad Bunny?
Not really. Not like I don't like actively go looking for him or one of his songs. But if it comes on the radio, then it's on.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Marlene says she does.
He got a lot of features. Yeah. Marlene's on here?
Yeah.
Marlene
Yep.
does.
No, I'm telling you, I was sitting here and I was kicking back. I was listening to the radio, right? Because we got radio stations on the institution channel, and we let it go. And a song came on, right? And I found myself, like, let's say with my non-Spanish, and I'm like, that's how I sound, when I sing Spanish songs. And it kind of got in my head, And
Bad Bunny has a lot of cool features.
Well, that's when Jesse hit me upside the head with a state boot.
And was like, hey, don't be promoting this stuff.
Yeah.
He got some bangers, but he's not a gang member. He's not connected to the gang culture, I don't think, in any way either. But
you don't think, though, that they got some of their style from Hispanic gangs? Because they wear baggy clothes. They kind of have that little, like...
I
think, honestly, they're probably more inspired by cartels and narcos than
Who's that?
Like, fools like the reggaeton singers, Bad Bunny, Peso Pluma, like all them dudes.
Yeah, they actually started that whole freaking Edgar and all that weird ass style they got now. They started it. Like they're little and the fools. Actually, it started like between them and the fools with what is it? Corridos tumbados. Like they all kind of like merged their own little styles together. But I think reggaeton is more like a lot of what these preppy fools are into now, honestly.
You remember when they came out with that song Gasolina a long time ago?
Yeah.
Wasn't that like an offshoot of, cholo rap? Because it was a revolutionary thing at the time, right? Because they were still kind of rapping kind of fast. It wasn't what it is now, but everything evolves from something. Everything starts somewhere. Everything has its origin story, and you run the numbers, Jesse, and you're thinking, man, how did this happen? You got James twerking on a yacht in freaking Puerto Rico, in the freaking reggaeton.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hey, you know what, David? Hey, the sad part is that there's dudes out there doing that stuff. It's like it's normal. It's normal for people to be doing stuff like that now.
Hey, Bad Bunny started that shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Do not tell me. Don't sit here and tell me, in my infancy, Bad Bunny fandom, that he's twerking on yachts.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised.
Not necessarily him, but
I can't take it.
no. Look at there. Well, I'm trying to think of that other cat's name. Oh, maybe it was Ozuna. No, it was Bad Bunny. It was Bad Bunny. But I read an article when I was on C-Status a long time ago about Bad Bunny and his, I don't know, bunch of weird shit. But yeah, he was wearing all kinds of weird ass clothes. This is before he got super relevant though, when he kind of took over the game. So I don't think you'd get a lot of that stuff about him out there now. But back then it was in Double XL or one of the music magazines that I was reading, and they had an article on him. And yeah, there was some pretty weird stuff in that dude's history. So that's kind of why I was never really able to get into him too much.
That's probably why I turned it up when he was on.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Jess, this is the guy I told you about with all that weird stuff in his history.
Yeah.
Turn that up, please.
And this is the guy that I was telling you that I wanted to learn how to twerk from. This is the vato I was hoping that could show me how to shake my dick.
I got no rhythm, James.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to put myself out there as a twerker, it would look horrible. We're talking about it would look anywhere from a stair climber to leg lifts. It would be all bad. It would crack the internet. You'd be like, oh my god, this guy.
Dave's out there twerking again, and it'd be like, no, I thought he was having a seizure.
I thought he was stepping on hot coals.
Yeah.
So the topic of why kids join gangs, to come back, James, they're not white kids. Why do kids join gangs? Knowing there's plenty of data on the subject now. When we were young, I got involved into, gang influence in the late 80s, early 90s. It was still pretty reserved, to certain neighborhoods and stuff like that. They made mockeries and jokes of anybody who wasn't from the hood, like Malibu's Most Wanted, and you always had you always had the white guy that was kind of trying to fit in, and it was something that was so out of place that you didn't really see too much of it. Deeper in, you had if you had a black guy that grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood, he would be from the local gang probably and act like them. We all seen the Black Guy in Colors, How about that gang for the 80s? Deuce. No, remember the gang from Colors? That was just completely, it was black, white, and Mexican. And they were with it. They weren't as far as a movie gang goes, they were machine gunning each other from 5 feet away. That's a pretty hardcore gang.
All I remember about that movie is, I'm a homegirl two-pack, man. This is my barrio.
That's where you got that from. He says that all the time.
Yeah, that's why I say it all the time.
He does.
Every time you get somebody who's just I'm a homegirl two-pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to clown people all the time about that.
Yeah, but that's a pretty crazy concept at the time, and we just accepted it because we were when Colors came out, right? Even though it was a representation of kind of what we were going through during that time, fools, dressed like cholos and kind of the talk and walk, and it was a little off, but it was showing fools in the county, and it was the radio and the fools all high and stuff like that.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
But now, that shit is everywhere. They're man. It seems like everybody's a freaking gang member now, in media and.
Well, it became trendy.
You get the same group of cholos in every movie. The Fast and the Furious cholos.
Yeah. Well, because Homeboy's Industry actually hires them out to, they actually plug them in, and so does ARC. They actually plug them in. So now you got a lot of them dudes actually.
Those dudes look like authentic cholos. Like
a lot of them are actual real gang members.
Yeah, I would bet my money that them dudes are from a hood. You cannot act that good.
Yeah, they're gang members in recovery. You know, like. But you still, the funny thing about it is you still get a bunch of.
It's gonna hang up right now, James.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be waiting. All right. So for those of you that are just tuning in right now, as you can tell, right now we're not doing any court sessions. We're currently with Jesse and David. They're currently located in prison, in Sentinel State Prison. They've been there for quite some time at this at this point. So they're sharing their views and as far as why do people join gangs. So hey, thank you, Marlene. Highly appreciate you tapping the screen, and anybody over here on this side, on the left side, that's hitting the screen. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. 99 problems 4323. Hey, gracias, and thank you. It's the Chicken Girl. Hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in a bit, but hey, good to see you, and anybody else that's in the chat. So we're just waiting for them to reconnect. Once they call back, then we'll go ahead and continue. This is like we've been doing this for maybe the last year and a half, where we do these phone calls on the weekend. So here we are.
This call is now being recorded.
Orale, you have a prepaid call from
Jesse Nava.
What?
An incarcerated individual at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
I met them through doing this.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
James, yes.
All right. Hey, you threw me for a curveball right there with that Jesse Nava.
Oh, you know what?
Because I'm dialing, because Dave's over there.
I'm making taffy right now, so he had to dial the number.
He's in the kitchen whipping a batch.
All
yep.
right.
I mean, he got the
baby bottle and can I put some clothes on? He's acting like I'm making crackhead here.
You know, but the New Jack City style. I can't have Pookie right here selling on my stuff. I can't have Pookie right here stealing none of my stuff. Yeah. He's in there dancing around singing, so I know he's already blown the back.
Yeah.
Coming up with that clavo.
About using that one is, yeah. He's hiding rocks between his toes like blood diamonds.
Little taffy rock?
Yeah, little taffy rocks between his toes like blood diamonds. He's lost it. The other thing I was thinking about using that one is they're going to think it's canteen Kool-Aid probably because of the fruit punch
Hawaiian
flavor.
punch?
The fruit punch flavor.
Yep.
But it has a little bit of a different taste though, so hopefully
I think we'll survive.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right.
So yeah, we take our taffy making very seriously. We don't want no one to even think for a second that we use canteen Kool-Aid or steak Kool-Aid from the kitchen. So anyway, to come back on that subject, right? Look, modern media normalized the cholo.
But I will tell you this, even with that though, right? But it's crazy that even now with all that they do know and everything they got going on,
yes,
you still see some straight bullshit depictions of of like people, instead of getting you would think the movie creators would do more investigation and do more research and get more authentic parts for people like that, because you do see the occasional movie where it's like, oh yeah, he kind of hit that on the head. But at least for creative purposes, not to promote gangs or the culture, the style, or anything like that. But I know if I was making a movie, I would definitely want. You still see a bunch of bullshit ass, fake ass looking gang member looking fools on there.
Well, you get the one
their whole style.
Well, modern media gave rise to the Ninja Cholo too.
Yeah.
Remember the Ninja Cholo, Jesse? Have you seen? Okay, remember the Fast and the Furious, right? Where the Ninja Cholo is he's birthed at that moment. This Cholo was running for his life, right? And he was flying through windows. He had a gun, but this dude, if you go into that video and you look at how focused this Ninja Cholo was at getting away. This was probably Fast 3, maybe.
Oh,
wow. Where Brian is still a cop, or Brian's a cop again, and which was what was his name? Paul Walker. Yeah. He was a cop again, and he's chasing this ninja cholo, right? And this dude he's clearing fences. And look, for all you out there that don't know cholos, we can clear fences. It's like in our freaking cholo DNA or something. There is not a fucking fence or wall that we cannot clear. I don't give a fuck if that thing's 12 feet high. We will make it over that fence. And so that's an accurate.
Why do you think Donald Trump's trying to build a wall?
We can't build it high enough. We will. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's because it doesn't matter. I'm sure that there's Puerto Rican cholos that can also hit a wall. They're so it's not because it's Mexicans, but the first lesson we have in our cholo freaking regimen training is how to hit fences and walls, and it comes natural. You'll know when it's time to hit a wall. It just comes. It comes out of nowhere. You find yourself leaping and you'll make it over that wall. So, anyway, the ninja cholo, right? He's running for his life, and Brian, who is Paul Walker in this movie, he is not like the biggest, bulkiest agent chasing him. Like, he's not running from Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's running from Slim Shady. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not very built, and this guy is trying to get away, but he's still law enforcement, so, bless his heart, trying to do what he's got to do for the cholo freaking cause, trying to get away. But he flies out of rooftop windows, goes through glass, does the perfect tumble roll onto freaking other rooftops and shit, and Paul Walker flies through a freaking window and just at the right moment and meets him like Jason Bourne shit, right? And that was
Damn.
When that happened, like when he seen this crazy white boy fly through a window in a suit and tackle him to the ground, he bitched out. I mean, he marked himself out in a crazy way.
No good.
That's not what I expect from a ninja cholo. I would expect at least some hand-to-hand.
Put up a great fight.
To happen. But it was just that. That was it. Like, this fool came at him, and that was over. So I didn't like that because...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
What we know about gangs, if you're all in like that, he had a gun. As a matter of fact, I think he turned around and fired at him during the chase. I can't believe you can't remember this chase.
Honestly, I haven't watched any of the Furious movies in a long time.
As a matter of fact, I still remember the tattoo that was on the cholos. It said TikToks. It said like
Nava on his back.
It said tick.
It was me. I have to confess. I gave up as soon as I seen the white cop. I'm sorry.
I don't believe you would have done that, Jesse. No, I don't believe it. I believe you would have found your way into a primered Regal somehow. Like any respectable cholo, you would have found your way into a Cutlass.
Yeah. There would have been some sort of lowrider waiting for me. The license plate with California dreaming.
Dropped old school with no shocks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
with some bricks in the trunk so the back was sagging.
That's him.
That's how we used to do it in the 80s. That's my brothers and them used to lower the cars. Bricks in the trunk.
With some Pioneer speakers.
Yep.
And he would have done his thing. Jesse would.
All right, so let's get to the topic of the conversation, because Paul Walker is a dead man. Rest in peace.
Now look. How do kids join gangs? Why do kids join gangs? So, you got your classic, right? You got your classic family dynamic, right? That's standard. So what does that involve, Jess?
It involves dad's a gang member, mom might be a groupie, mom and dad both might be gang members. I mean, your older brothers are gang members, uncles are gang members. It's usually a family affair. For a lot of gang members, it's a family affair. Just dysfunction. But if you weren't born into it, your family still plays a part in you joining a gang either way, because it's usually dysfunction in the home that drives somebody in the street to a gang, to that kind of individuals. Did we ever plug it in?
Yeah. Boiling.
Huh? Boiling. Oh. Yeah, so either way, your family plays a part in you joining a gang. Very few people come from good families, where there's not dysfunction in the family, that actually join a gang, because 9 out of 10 times they're getting everything they needed at home. so they're not out there in the streets trying to fill that void somewhere else. So it's usually some sort of abuse taking place in the house, rejection, abandonment, something of that nature that makes a young boy or young girl even feel some kind of way, about themselves. So they go out there in the street, everything they're missing that they're looking for, that they should be getting at home in a good functional household, they end up going out to the streets and they find it in other people. It's like one of my boys, Sugar Bear, actually used it like the analogy of like when you ever, I don't know if anybody on here has gone down to like Rosarito or even Mexicali and like different parts of like border towns in Mexico where they got dogs everywhere out there. Like the dogs are just, they're wild dogs just running the streets like they own the place. But it's the same thing too, probably in different cities around here, in the U.S. also. But you get dogs that are like getting treated bad at home, and first chance they get, they break out of that gate, they make a run for it. And you'll ever see like 3-4 ugly ass dogs. Clearly they don't belong together, but they're out there running around, running the streets together, running up and down the street, so the pound eventually picks them up and puts them in a cell. That's kind of like the same thing with the kid who joins a gang. He's looking to belong somewhere. He's looking to, be seen somewhere. He's looking for a little bit of, acceptance and even affection, a little bit of love and affection. So when he goes out here to the streets and you got a bunch of dysfunctional kids who are experiencing the same things at home and they're out there in the streets looking for some, they tend to gravitate towards each other. So that's usually number one, the primary for me of what I've seen, my experience of why people join gangs is usually because they were missing something at home. Their parents were either on drugs, abusing them, just absent. They grew up with grandma, whatever it is, and so they're figured, okay, well, something's wrong with me. Why don't my parents care about me? Why isn't my life like other people? And so they get out in them streets, and you got a bunch of other kids who are living in the same misery, and you see people like you, and all of a sudden, that's why you ever notice a lot of gang members, they band together real tight. Used to when I was growing up, the fabric was tight. Now it's not so much so. Nowadays, these dudes are snitching on each other right into the cop car. Come out of the bushes, dog, we're busted. They got me, homeboy. Come on, they know you were with me. Like, what the fuck? They're not even looking for us. That's how they get down nowadays. Before, when growing up, like, fools are willing to live and die for their homeboys because it was like they believed that was their family, that was everything, and they found that. A lot of times you really think about it, I know like when I was growing up, being able, like going over, all me and my little homies, like when we were all little at that time, we all used to share each other's clothes, we used to eat at each other's house, there was always a bunch, like it was, that's just what it was, so when you feel like, okay, the homie, this fool got love for me. This fool, I don't have shit. This fool's letting me borrow his clothes every day. You go over to his house, his grandma's willing to feed everybody because she'd rather we be there than in the streets, or his mom's willing to feed everybody because she'd rather we be there at the house than in the streets, and you start building those little bonds. You start to feel some kind of way, and I know in my mind, I was like, man, I'll never betray these dudes, like I love these fools. These are my homeboys. These are my brothers,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So much so that I was willing to kill for them or willing to die for them. It's just for an apartment complex that we had no stake in it. That was, it didn't belong to us. In the end, we weren't even allowed to be there. We weren't even allowed in that apartment complex or my city, my town, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so that for me is the main reason why I think most kids join gangs is they're looking for somewhere to fit in, they're looking for acceptance, and they're looking to fill a void that was put there by a dysfunctional family, which could be a number of things. There's a number of things, we can get more into that, of what kind of dysfunctions are in the family. And we were even talking about it today at our GROW meeting because we run a youth development program and we're training for our first event, August 6th. We're going to have about 10 youth coming in here, and we're going to, mentor them, counsel them, set some goals with them, and connect with them. Hopefully, use some of our experiences to prevent them from making some of the mistakes we've made. It's not a scare straight. It's a youth development program. We're not trying to scare them and use scare tactics and all that weird shit.
That doesn't work.
No, it don't work. So what we try to do is, and we were talking about it this morning, that I know growing up, you weren't ever going to get anybody in the barrio to say there was something wrong in their house, and because most of us didn't really see anything wrong in our house. Like you couldn't, a young person can't identify the things that was going on inside of them that drove them to a gang to begin with. Like the things that we're telling you guys now, I figured that out at 40 years old. I figured that out just a couple of years ago. By the time I was like 42 years old, maybe I had an understanding of why I joined the gang. And you would have never been able to explain that to me back then, because the last thing I was going to do was say that there was anything wrong with my family, especially when I looked around and everybody around me had the same kind of family. And I know in Latin, even African Americans cultures and definitely in the gang cultures, no matter what your nationality is, you don't speak bad about your family, and definitely not to people on the outside. You might talk hella shit about each other inside the family.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Mom and tias will talk shit about everybody else's kids, and grandma will talk, whoever's with grandma at the moment is talking shit about the rest of the kids and the rest of the nephews and nieces, but you definitely won't hear none of that outside. But they'll definitely stick together when it comes to somebody else on the outside.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you want to add anything to that, Dave?
Yeah, but I'll add some stuff, James, when we call back right now, because it's gonna click off.
Hey, and I want to read off a comment that Marlene put on the chat. She said, "Or just environment, city, and area they live in."
For sure. No, that's we want to touch on that too, because that's important,
But I also want to play devil's advocate on that. But go ahead.
Yep, for sure. I'll call back.
All right, for sure. Hey, what's up, Cody? How's it going? Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody doing today? I'm hoping everybody's they don't have to work today. There's a day off and they're able to enjoy their day. If you're at work listening to this, my heart goes out to you. But I'll be there tomorrow with you because I got to work tomorrow. Unfortunately, you guys know how that goes. Well, unfortunately, I don't have to work that much. As long as I work 2 to 3 days a week, then I'm good. If not, then there's gonna be problems. But yeah, so we're on the line right now with Jesse and David, which are located in Sentinel State Prison, and they are calling back right now. So we're gonna go ahead and connect them back in. Let me see.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah. So, we were. So, Marlene touched on the environment, and the thing is, look, for me, I believe that my environment contributed to why I joined the gang, but I was going through family issues. There was tons of shit wrong in my house, and I knew it. There was yelling and abuse and domestic violence, and you name it, man. It was happening somewhere in my house or right around it, and I didn't want to be in there. I didn't want to be home. I wanted to leave as much as possible. As soon as I was done. And I wasn't trying to pay attention in school because all I could think about when I was at school, what was going on in my house. I would be there tired. It was exhausting. I couldn't keep my eyes open in class. No matter what, even if I went to sleep early, there was so much going on in the house that it kept me up. It was very distracting. So I was embraced out in the streets. And my environment fueled what I had going on internally. It takes two to tango. Everybody has a choice. I made my choice, and the way that there was always cholos around my neighborhood where I grew up at. It was like a backdrop, but they kind of stayed off to the side. They would be kicking back at the park, and but they left us alone. Like they weren't over there trying to seek us out. We sought them out. We seen the same people, they seen us, so we would make our way over that way, and basically what they did was they wanted us to just beat each other up for their enjoyment. That's what a lot of them did. They were like, hey, you guys fight? What you talking about, man? I still remember this fool, right? He told me his name was Emiliano. He's dead now. But Emiliano was like,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I had these big old steel-toe boots, right? And my a friend that I grew up with, he was on my baseball team. Me and him, like, we had problems, but we were like frenemies. We were around each other, but we kind of like had problems. There was a little tension, and Emiliano was right there, and he's like, hey, like, why don't you guys just chunk him? And I was thinking, like, man, that's the last thing that I wanted to do, you know? Like, I wasn't really like a violent kid at that time. So he was like, I remember what he told me. He's like, you wear them big old boots, but you don't know how to fight? That pumped me up, James. I was like calling Marty McFly chicken.
You don't call me Yeller.
You don't call me Yeller. That fool, he called me Yeller. And so I ended up freaking getting into a fight, and man, I got my ass beat, man. It seemed like no matter what I did, I ran into a fist. You know, that was I remember that's how a lot of the the neighborhood was at that time. And then we start to see a lot of the other gang members, and we started thinking, well, they want us to fight, so we wanted to act tougher around them. You know, I didn't even know that the word cholo meant tough guy, right? Bad boy, something like that. He's like, tough guy. It gives off that persona, So we started behaving like that. And some of my teammates, their family were hardcore gang members. They were from LA, hardcore gang members. You can tell they were in and out of prison. So when I went over there and I seen that, I was like, damn, like it just became more normalized to me. So I wanted to go hang out with them more, and I liked it because they were like, hey, what happened? Like, is somebody messing with you? You let us know. They would always tell us that. They seen that I was best friends with their family member, and they were like, look, anybody messes with you, you let us know. We'll take care of it. And I was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, then they started giving me rides in the Regal. I was hooked.
Once you're in the Regal, you're done.
Yeah, I was hooked.
You got Try Me jamming in the background.
I swear to God,
Try Me jamming in the background. The Regal back in the early 90s.
I'm your puppet. Yeah, I'm your puppet. But Try Me, I swear to God, Try Me was on in the fucking Regal.
Was it?
It was. I swear to God, it was. I swear to God, it was dead fucking hit right there. Try Me was on. I used to iron my clothes, my freaking my Frisco Benz and my Ben Davis. I used to iron it to Try Me. Yep, all them songs right there.
Remember I was telling you the other day about me and my primo buying that Monte Carlo. I was in the 7th grade, and we bought a root beer brown Monte Carlo with tan interior, straight hoopty, but old 78 Monte Carlo, straight hoopty. We put a couple tins in there with a Pioneer pull-out with a little small lamp.
Yep.
And that's the reason I said that, though, because back then, this is in the early 90s, so,
yep.
like, you had to be jamming oldies. That's what all the gang members were on.
Yeah.
At least at that time. For us, it was oldies and reggae. In my area, reggae, but I know everywhere else it was just oldies.
It was oldies. Yeah. That was the backdrop. Everywhere you went, you had oldies on.
Yeah.
And but see, I had a secret love because in the LA area we had K-Rock.
Yes.
We had 106.7 KROQ. And I think Howard Stern was the one of the DJs at that time. Yeah. And so that's where I started. We had Power 106. Like if I was bumping, if I was around if I was around my homeboys, I was listening to Power 106. But right past freaking it was 105.9. Remember that, James?
You guys have pirate radio back then?
We had pirate freaking radio, man. I can't believe you know about pirate radio.
Yeah.
Pirate radio was old. You remember that, James?
James ain't ready for no pirate radio.
Nah. I heard of it, but I never heard it.
Yeah. But there's different kinds of oldies, though. Like we would my stepdad at the time, he listened to KRS 101 a lot. That was the rock and roll oldies, like Rolling Stones and all that other stuff, But the oldies that we listened to, that was like what you'll hear on Art LeBeau's now. I don't even know how we heard all those things. Had to be cassettes.
Oh yeah, for sure, it's cassettes.
Yeah.
But you had to get like the underground oldies, like a lot of the good oldies was like the underground, the East Side Stories, and like a lot of the underground shit. Gene Chandler, a lot of fools didn't know, like a lot of fools didn't really get into the good shit because they didn't listen to underground because they were too hung up on the Art LeBeau type shit.
Yep. Yeah. Any of you guys out there that want to put your mind into a '90s cholo, look up "Try Me." That's what it's called. Try me. Yep. And that's what it was, So we would cruise around, and that's when we had lowrider bikes. We started to cruise around. Those popped up in the '90s a lot. That was like a big thing at that time. And so we wanted to be what we saw. The rise of the gangster rap. But remember, gangster rap was a reflection of black culture at that time. So, but it still had an influence on us because I started noticing that some of our homies started sagging. That's when you've seen a lot of fools sagging their pants, and the mannerisms changed a little bit. But the older homies that were in the hood, they'll take that out of us real quick.
I didn't see the sagging thing till later on, like in actually like late '90s. I seen like fools, but for the most part, it still had the gangster rap 100% had an influence on even on the Mexican culture because even though everybody was listening to oldies and corridos and stuff like that, the gang culture, the gangster rap when it came out, everybody started listening to like NWA and stuff like that, and it definitely played a part. You wouldn't see anybody without an Eazy-E tape.
Nope.
You know.
And I wanted to that's when I started wanting to trade in the Regal for the Mustang GT. That was
the 5.0.
The 5.0. Is that what's called GT or 5.0?
5.0. Yeah.
Yep. That's when I wanted that, and I wanted the freaking Daytons, and on that, But it started to like morph into something else a little bit.
Well, even the lowrider style changed. That's when everything started. When they started going for the little cockroach lowrider look,
Yep.
Where they would, all the little the compact cars with the wheels popped out with the wire with the wires hanging off the fender, so you know if you were going to scrape a curb or not. A lot of people thought that was for looks, but they didn't understand those wires were put on the cars so that when you turned, you knew if you were getting too close to the curb. Those wires that hung off the lowriders.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that's what they were for. Well, not lowriders. They're actually, but the modern lowrider, the ones that came out in the mid '90s, like when they started doing all the Sentras and the Maximas and the 5.0s and all that stuff with the wheels popped out, looking all crazy.
Well, I want to know where the dropped Cougar with the 10s on Dayton's came from.
Yep, same time. That was the same era. I was just getting ready to say the Cougars, because the Cougar came out when the 5.0 started booming. That's when the Cougar came out, because it was the Cougar, the Thunderbird. They started doing the Thunderbird that was booming at that time again. Yep. But they put those the little eyelashes on the side, and so you know if you were too close to the curb, so that way you didn't scrape your rim on the curb.
And that's the environment though. When you're a young kid going through the neighborhood, and I could see that if there's two sides of the street that you can always go on, right? You know where to go and where not to go. There's places where you can't help but walk by if you got to walk to school and stuff like that. I was a latchkey kid, so I pretty much left school and found my way home. I'd see my mom and my grandma and stuff later on at night, after they got off from work. But it was expected that I make it home. I'm at home by around 5 o'clock or so. There wasn't cell phones at that time, so it's kind of like the honor system. Like I'm not abducted.
Yeah, you can't check your Ring doorbell to see if he's at the house throwing a party.
Yep. And that, so that ties into a lot of stuff that, we were more prone to getting preyed on by people at that time. Now, they're pretty blatant about it. These dudes are like dragging people off in front of freaking, supermarkets and crazy shit like that. But like in the 90s, you didn't really hear too much about it. Not over here. You kind of heard it about it like, the milk carton kid, or you heard the John Walsh stuff. But now I think about it, it's like, damn, these freaking kids, man, that, our generation, I don't know how any of us are still alive.
Yeah, the way they left us in the street, because I don't understand, like, why my son's in the house all the damn time. It's irritating, because I'm like, man, put that kid on a bike and get him the hell out of there.
Yep.
And it's like, they're like, I don't know what you're thinking, fool, but you can't just let kids outside anymore. It's not like it used to be. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, man, give that fool a ball and a bat or a bicycle and tell him you don't want to see him till the sun's coming down.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's 9 years old. What are you talking about? I said, boy, you better play now, because next year you need to get a job.
GMC windowless vans are like top sellers right now.
Yeah, you got the Econo line parked down the street from the park. Nobody cares.
Highest rated freaking vehicle of the year.
Sales vehicle right now, because it seems like human trafficking and child abduction is.
Yeah, these dudes are freaking nuts, man. But in our day, it's like, all right, well, we were easy prey for gang culture, but gang culture, I don't even think they were focused on preying on us. You get the older homies that, would throw the pitch here and there, and they were kind of a guide, but they couldn't get their own life, in order. So how are they going to freaking give us the right advice?
It wasn't so much as them preying on us as us subjecting ourselves to them.
Yeah, and plus it was our own. We were pumping each other up. Yeah. In a lot of sense, our homies, bad influences, man. That's another reason right there why kids join gangs. Bad influences, and it's not. I'm not here to say, well, I was influenced badly. I think that I was just as bad as an influence on other kids because there was people watching the things that I did. They thought, damn, this fool, he just got that. He just walked up and shook hands with the OG gang member right there. They liked him, and I just saw David stealing from a store. I saw David in the Regal. I saw David doing this. I saw David doing that. So guess what? That kid wants to elevate it. Now that kid I see fighting at school. That's one thing I didn't see David doing ever. Just I wasn't a fighter when I was younger. So now I see the kid fighting at school, and in my mind I'm thinking, well, damn, now I got to get in the fights. Like that's what you're supposed to do. That's what's expected. I remember Emiliano said, I wear boots. I got to know how to fight. Start fighting at school now. But guess what? I'm the idiot that got suspended. This kid didn't get in trouble because he had enough sense to go fight around back or do whatever. I'm the kid that took off on another kid right there in class. I'm the kid that I wanted the crowd around me, like if we were doing a breakdance freaking battle or something,
So real quick before you go on from that, why? Because I was that person too. So why, for them who don't know, was it important or okay for us to do it that way? What do you think was the primary motivator of you doing things out in the open like that and all willy-nilly without any consideration for the consequence?
I took my value in what people thought about me. That's what it was. I didn't have any value in myself. And when people praised me, when people encouraged me or did that, I took that as love, and I didn't have value without that. I didn't.
And that goes back to what we were saying about what made us go out into the streets to begin with. So that's the reason I wanted to stop you.
No, that's
and
important.
ask you that there, because that's important for the context, even though we've been...
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
That's an important component to the context of the conversation. And so, as David said, his value was based on how other people perceived him and praised him. And in the...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It's called the reward factor. Praise, acceptance, and recognition, and that's how it starts, and it goes back to, okay, I need to fill that void when I'm not getting filled in the house. Usually our parents would be like, hey, good on the homework, good in the baseball, good on the football field, but when you don't get none of that, you're going to get what Dave was getting, what I was getting. Damn, that fool got loose. We're going to call you guys back for now.
All right, for sure. All right, and for anybody that's here, that's on YT, that's here for the Maricopa County Court, I got it running on a separate stream. So if you jump on the other stream, you'll be able to find the Maricopa County. Should be starting up in the next few minutes. I just looked at my phone, so it's already up. On this stream here, we're actually doing phone calls, so with Jesse and David, so it won't be on this stream. So if you guys have any comments, feel free to drop any comments in the chat, and then I'll go ahead and read them off as the time permits. Hey, what's up, Lynn? How's it going? Welcome back to You Have a Collect Call From. And there they are. What up, Sue?
Esta es Global Telling. Usted
This
tiene
call
una
is now
llamada
being
propagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
What up, Hector?
James.
David.
What's up, James?
What
Is
up?
that Hector on here? Yep.
Yup.
That's cool. So that's I hope we were able to shed some light on the family issues, culture. Another thing too is racial tensions in the neighborhood. You kind of get dragged into those things when you're younger. You grow up in a neighborhood where there's not a lot of people from a certain race. Like where I lived growing up there, you didn't see too many blacks in the neighborhood. It was mostly like working class Hispanic families. So you start to become normalized to people thinking like, oh, okay, well, we don't let them in this neighborhood, or there's this many families, here, but we let them because they stay out the way, they're kids from the neighborhood, and they kind of morph them into that. So you grow up already thinking about it, us versus them, and don't even realize it that they're breeding racists, And when you come to prison, you get into not so much in the juvenile system, but when you come to prison, like this place is carved down color lines. I mean, it's you could see it as plain as day. There's us over here, and they're over there, and it kind of reinforces that ideology. So that's an important thing right there, because you start to normalize your own, quote unquote own, being that group of people that you feel comfortable around. And a lot of times that so happens to be gang members, because non-gang members don't care. They don't give a shit. There's some people that are like old families and stuff like that. They care.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like a lot of, and it's weird because a lot of Hispanic cultures, like they breed, racism without even like we're like in our area, there's no blacks, and most of the Hispanic families probably came from Mexico, and there's no blacks in Mexico. So why is it that you don't like blacks, or why is it that you don't like, when you've never really even been around any of them, So it's funny, but their racism I think is a little bit different than ours. Like when we were in here and conditioned the way that we were, like having it in the household was a little bit different than the way it was spoon fed to us in the system.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like once we were able to let our hair down and be like, okay, we didn't have to see things that way, or we don't look at it like that anymore. I'm going to look at a man for being a man and who he is, and his race is irrelevant to me, because I know that there's shit in every race, and that's really what it boils down to. If you're a good person, you're a good person, and nobody's better than anybody. But it also goes back to like what Marlene was saying, your neighborhood, your environment, how you grew up, stuff like that, and if it's predominantly, one culture or one gang, it seems almost inevitable to go that way. But I also want to play the other side of that that's not, that for me, I know now today that's an excuse. There is no excuse. It would seem simpler and easier if that's all there is around you, but I know people that have not just grown up in the neighborhoods or in the cities, and I'm talking about people that grew up in straight drug dealer, gang member, gang infested households, and said, fuck no, I'm not going to grow up and be like all you idiots. Like, you guys sound stupid, you look stupid, your whole life is shit, and watch what I do with mine. I think I told that story before about my homeboy's sister Bobcat, and she everything she said she was going to do, she actually did it. She got her life together. She not together, she had it together all along, and she was just basically she wasn't gonna be the same kind of people her parents were, her brothers were, all her primos were. She was just like, nope, and she got her shit together. She ended up, leaving my area, didn't get involved in none of that stuff, graduated high school, went to college, got her own business. She's super successful today. Everything she said she was going to do, she did it. And she was saying that since she was 15, 14 years old. But it's cultural influences that come from your environment for sure. Marlene is absolutely right, because if you look around you, when you're still like a sponge, you're soaking up everything. When you're still trying to find yourself, you're usually going to find yourself by the people that have influence over you, which is usually going to be the people you go to school with, the people, your neighbors, your family. And so you're going to adapt that ideology, and if you don't realize that the things that are happening around you are dysfunctional and wrong, then you're going to have no problem adapting to them. I think with Bobcat, for her, it might have been like, well, you know what? I'm 15 years old and I'm raising my mom's kids, the baby, because my mom's in prison and my dad's in prison right now. So I'm kidding, like, maybe that's what got her to realize that something was wrong around that house. I don't know, but it's hard for you to make changes if you acknowledge that the stuff is wrong.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I think the biggest disservice to this also is doubting some kids and how influenced they are by culture, school, or whatnot. Let's address the concept of Malibu's Most Wanted. Okay, him specifically, probably not. But when does a young Jason or Jameson become Weddle or Ghost?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there telling a kid, well, you're a white boy. You're not from a big time, Mexican neighborhood, or you didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood. But guess what? Those kids will find the neighborhood. They'll find something that they'll latch onto, and all it takes is one bad decision in your nicer neighborhood. You get incarcerated as a kid, and guess what? You're right there in the thick of it. You found them. That's when the kid goes in there and he goes by, his regular name, and he gets a nickname.
And he has an identity now, because those nicknames, getting the nickname was like a milestone that made you feel seen for the first time.
Yep.
Especially if you come from a household where the only thing they're calling you is derogatory, hey, stupid, hey, for people that come from abusive households, or even in simple cultures where, hey, you should be seen and not heard. It's not the ill intent, but when you're young and a grown-up tells you, your abuelita, your tios, your tias, even your mom, hey, be quiet. Kids should be seen and not heard. What's the matter with you? Ain't nobody talking to you. Go over there. That kind of stuff starts to affect a child. And so when you get out into the street, and you're 12, 13 years old, and now you got some older guys or you're these kids you go to school with, their tios, like calling you güero, calling you local, whatever they're calling you, it is, and now they're calling you regularly. You embrace that because it's an identity now. Like, damn, they see me, even though I don't know why they see me like that. They're fine. They're seeing me, and I don't normally get seen. So you know what? I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna stand up to that.
Yep. You get the neutral names like youngster, little man. I'm the one that started calling Josh Little Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started calling because he was a little man.
Yeah.
We were locked up. We were at Van Horn, and I remember he was sitting there. Van Horn was a boot camp for kids. We were incarcerated at a boot camp. So Josh was sitting there, and it was cool. We started chopping it up a lot, and I just kept calling him Little Man because I was big, but Josh was small. He was a short little white kid. He's not Hispanic. He might have he might be mixed somewhere down the line and all that, but it didn't matter to me. All I saw was a cool ass kid, because he was a freaking kid. We were young, and that was his name. He took on that handle. He started calling himself Little Man all the time. He liked it a lot. And Josh is dead now. Josh didn't make it. Jesse and I know him real well. That was our friend. That was our boy right there, Josh Stevenson. He died in 2005, maybe, Jess, around there, of an overdose. He's been dead for crazy. Josh has been dead for 20 years.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yep.
That's his whole life gone.
Yep. And he didn't make it long. He died young. He died in early 20s. He didn't make it. He went to prison and did the whole thing that we all did, but his life was cut short by that lifestyle. And so that's why I don't want to take nothing away and underestimate anybody's kids. If you're out there listening and you got a kid that you're just like, this kid's a little weakling. He's kicking it with cholos and stuff like that, but it's probably just a phase. You need to take that shit serious. Because your son could go from Josh to Little Man with one arrest. The cops will lock him up. They lock up kids. Jesse and I both spent time in solitary confinement as children. And it's not as long as it is now, where we did all that shoe time and stuff like that. But we were in cells by ourselves. We were chained up as kids. We had to be escorted places, in security units and high security units as children. And that was from bad decisions that we made as children. My moniker that I used to call myself, my gang name, it became something else entirely. I became a different entity entirely. I wasn't the same David that came in. Something was changed in me forever. You know, that's why we always say we gotta reclaim our innocence. You know,
My first nickname was very indicative of having a problem, but
it wasn't the same one that they call you now.
no.
Yeah, it's some different.
My first nickname was Crazy Smurf.
Mine was Locote.
Yeah.
That was my
Locote.
Locote.
Yeah.
Joker. No, how do you say Joker? No, mine was Joker when I was really young. But my grandma always told me, she goes, I know what that says. It means Locote.
Locote.
I was like, I guess that's my, you know, yeah. That means like crazy though, like crazy kid and shit, you know. Yeah.
It wasn't
called me
Loquito?
Crazy kid, and I was so dumb I didn't understand what it meant. No, Loquito means.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
She called me because they were calling me Joker, but she called me that in Spanish, and I always thought she meant Locote.
Locote.
Yeah,
All right.
Well, yeah, but it was Joker.
Locote. Oh, yeah, Locote.
Yeah. She probably just said, you fucking crazy kid. Not really.
Sixth grade, I was like, man, I don't like that because it was Loco Pitufo. And I was like, man, that shit sounds weird. That shit sounds super Paisa. The fuck?
That was crazy, Paisa.
Yeah. But then we switched it to the one. When I was in seventh grade, we switched it and it stayed like that. My older homeboy Cricket, he gave it to me. I remember right before they stabbed him.
So you gotta watch out too, because I could have very easily, not knowing Spanish, hanging around with the wrong people, I could have been calling myself El Cerote. Hey, Cerote. They were like, hey, why are you calling yourself that? All the homies, they named me that. You know what I mean? They're like, do you know what that means? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm big. I'm a big old. You know, I'm something big. You know? They're like, you definitely are. You definitely
Remember
are.
that girl the one that we went and I think her name was Christy. The one we went and got the cell phone. She got the cell phone in her name. The one when you got busted, and I went and picked up your property.
I remember Christy. Yeah,
She was a writer. Remember? Or she used to write articles for like Palm Springs Life. Not Christy. It was.
I don't remember her.
The white girl. We went. You don't remember that little gold phone that we went and got?
I remember the phone.
And it was in her name because she got all butthurt. She came out like to me like, hey, it's messing up my credit. And I said, look, I don't even know where that phone is anymore. So why are you even bothering me? But
it was in his property.
Yeah.
Jesse had it in his back pocket.
Yeah, it was in my pocket. It was actually.
It
was. I got it back, but I was like, beat it, lady. That's the only way my daughter's mom can get a hold of me if she goes into labor. But anyways, we were running around after you got busted. She was with me. I don't know if you remember Quinn.
I remember Quinn, yeah.
Well, we used to call her Basura Blanca.
That's fucked up. White trash. That's what that means. Everybody.
And she never knew. She was just like, we'd be like, hey, tell her, ask her what her nickname is. And she wore that shit with pride. She had no idea. That shit was funny as hell.
No, that's crazy. Hey, what about bullying? Bullying, there's two sides of it, right? Jesse says that, and he's right.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Most young gang members, they start as little bullies.
You know how I feel about that, Chappie?
I don't like it too much either.
It's cool, but it feels like it's another flat flavor.
It is.
Lifting it, if it wasn't for the stuff, the secret sauce.
Yep. Yeah, we got to talk about this Chappie right now, but anyway, I'm gonna call back, James.
All right, for sure.
Call back right now. It's about to hang up.
All right. So how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you guys are doing good. I know I'm doing fantastic. Let me see. Do they know Felipe? They're the ones that brought Felipe on. They're actually well, when they brought Felipe on, Felipe was in the cell next right to him. Good vato. Yeah, so yeah, they know him and they're the ones that brought him on. Hey, what's up, Tita? How's it going today? How are you doing? How are you on two channels at the same time? I seen you pop up on both channels at the same time. You gotta teach me that trick, Tita. Is that the Little Mermaid?
Yeah, it's your Little Mermaid.
I'm the Little Mermaid.
Yes? Yes, Papa, or no?
No.
You don't know him?
I came on my computer. I pick it up on the computer. Are you doing? Yeah, I'll be doing court later on.
Usted tiene una
This
llamada
call is now
propagada
being
de
recorded. Call
David
recording
Lopez.
ended.
un individuo
This call is now being
encarcelado
recorded.
en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, hello.
James.
Yep.
Yep. So, well, I wanted to, because we hadn't given anybody an opportunity to, to interject or anything. Or what do we got out there? We got a lot of people, or
We got a few, man. We got about, I would say, like about 30 people listening in right now. Maribel asked, she wanted to know if you guys know Felipe.
Yes, of course.
What's Felipe? You talking about the Chihuahua?
The Chihuahua. Yes,
The one and only.
we do know.
The one and only.
We do know Felipe very well. Why, you want me to hit him with a chancla? I will. I will.
Yep, he used to be our next door neighbor for a long time.
Yep. I did a workout with Felipe today, matter of fact. Yep. Me and Felipe, we go hard on the workouts.
That's
What
right.
else you got for us, James?
And somebody put with a chancla. They're laughing. That was about it right there.
Yep. Yep, we're going to get him with a chancla. You say the word. I could shoot him like a ninja star.
Oh, man. Poor Felipe.
Yeah. Yep. We went out there today. We had the way that they divided the program today, it kind of sucks. They chopped it up. So we go out at like 8:45 in the morning, and we have to be in by 11:30 from yard. But afternoon yard, they'll release it again. We only get, if we get morning yard, we'll get night yard. But if we get afternoon yard, we'll get morning day room and night day room. So that's how that works. But today we had afternoon yard, so they should open it at 12:30, but they like to open it closer to 12:50, right? So right when we get out there, we got to work out like.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
We go heavy because at 1:30 they recall us again. So they'll recall us at 1:30, so we're only getting like 40 minutes a yard. Then I got to sit here on the floor by the toilet because I can't touch nothing because I'm all sweaty and gross from the yard. So I just sit here until 2:15, 2:20. So that's like 40 minutes, that I got to sit right here by the door waiting for them because I'll open yard again, about 2:15, 2:20. Then they'll leave us out there till 4 o'clock. So today, right around 2:15, 2:20, we see the officers come out. They put their gloves on, and they walk up to release the yard. Well, that's what we thought, because a sergeant was in here, and there was 4 officers walking up the stairs with gloves on. Everybody knows in prison that's not good. That's not good. Because it only takes 2 officers to release yard. They'll walk around and go door to door. So if there's 4 officers with gloves and a sergeant down there, chances are someone's getting rolled on. So what they did is they pulled somebody out at the end of the tier, cuffed them up, took them downstairs, and stripped them out and searched the cell. So while they were doing all that, they didn't release yard. So I sat here watching, hoping that they would release yard till, at 3 o'clock. And then I gave up and birdbathed. That's what I did. So I just sat here for no reason for like almost 2 hours by the door, waiting and watching, James.
Hey, did they cut the amount of time that you guys were allowed yard time?
Yeah, they cut it. They cut it down because before they would pop us out at 12:45.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to come in until 4 o'clock. So that was a long yard.
Yeah.
I would go out there and just kick back, and that was our long yard. We could work out, play sports, we could do all kinds of stuff. But now, we're losing from 1:30 to 2:30. We're losing a whole hour of yard, but we have to come all the way in. Then we got to go back out, and so sitting in here is like, man, they did it because a lot of people, they said the staff were getting assaulted during shift change because they walk across without their equipment, and so that's the issue. But why
But
that
the thing is, it's not statewide. It's a policy that was put out, but it's not being implemented statewide. So this prison just took advantage of it just to be a bunch of lazy asses, because that's just what they do. They capitalize on laziness around here. So it's a trip, because you would think it would be happening where there was actually staff assaults happening. There haven't been had a staff assault in this prison in probably 10 years.
No.
And so
1 month.
1 month.
1 month ago.
Where?
Here on the shard.
Where?
No,
Oh, yeah.
4 blocks.
Yeah.
But that was like, it does happen. But that, like I said,
But was it really a staff assault, or was it a staff assault like Chewy?
it was probably
It's
the Chewy.
cuffed up already. When he turned around and looked at them, they slammed them on his face and then put a staff assault on him, just to justify vacation pay and locking the program down. Yeah, I'm talking about like a real staff assault where like an inmate decided to come out and get loose and make an example of somebody. Around here, they consider a staff assault, somebody that when they tell you to face the wall and you turn around and look at them, or you're already in cuffs being escorted and you jerk your elbow face first into the ground. And
Hey, the funny part, the crazy part though, is all the crazy ones that happen, they happen on the spot, no matter what, and they happen. Well, they don't care. If there's somebody that has a problem with somebody, they're just gonna freaking do it. They're not gonna wait until the whole time before they come out to yard and hope that they plan it to walk. When they're walking at shift change, hell no. These dudes are gonna get loose on the spot. That's the ones that I've seen. Them dudes just get loose. So they'll probably prevent some minor incident here and there, but it's not going to prevent what's going on. The issue is systemic. There's a lot of people working in the prison system that shouldn't be working in the prison system, and that's just what it is. The way that they treat people, the way that they disrespect people. They'll come and tear pictures up, throw stuff away, and insult you and talk shit to your face, call you names, manhandle you. Like, man, them dudes, they'll do. And then there's the ones that do the actual criminal shit, where they're actually gonna do some sell you phones and drugs, and those things go bad. Then there's the politic guys. They go and they play both sides of the fence, and freaking, it's all bad. And then they wonder, okay, well, these dudes, why were they hit in a gang hit? Well, it's like, the gang members don't want to hit them. They don't want to do nothing. They do it because they get themselves involved in shit that they probably shouldn't have, But they do whatever, they do whatever they can to try to limit us. And it's we're used to it. That's the consistency in CDCR, is the inconsistency. That's just what it is.
Man, that's a trip. So, yeah, because you know what, I don't ever recall anybody mentioning to me that there's ever been any staff assaults right there where you guys are located. So, now that they're cutting your times as far as being able to be out, I'm like, damn, that sucks. And especially if they're only doing it there instead of doing it statewide. What's really going on?
Well, they're doing it in a lot of places, but it's optional. If the prison wants to run it that way, it's optional. So, but of course, this place decided to take the option because it means that's another hour that they don't have to do anything.
Yeah. But
they're gonna just keep taking stuff right here, and they're gonna be whining about it when they ain't got no job later because they closed this place down.
A lot of people don't want to come here.
Yep,
that's what it is.
Come to this prison. That's why we got less than 400 people on this yard, on a 1,000-man yard.
People do not want to. People don't request to come here when they're up for transfer.
They don't even be able to justify keeping this place open much longer to Sacramento and taxpayers and budgeters like the governor. When it's time to restructure the budget next fiscal year, and he says, you know what, close that prison down or close that yard down because I'm not going to be paying, millions of dollars to staff a yard that has 400 people. I can staff it with half that.
Yep.
So
I'm hoping they change it to a level 2.
that'll be their first option for sure.
And if they switch it over to a level 2, would you guys be able to stay there, or do they ship everybody out?
Yeah. No, we'll
We'll
stay.
be able to stay. We could just get an override.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, I can't go below level 2, and I'll be an official level 2 next year. Next May, I'll be an official level 2. But right now, because of the way I'm programming, they'll give me a behavioral override if they were to drop it right now, especially because I'm in San Diego State. Well, I'm going to be in San Diego State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. But because of my crime, I can never drop below 19 points or be on a yard that's not secured, like a level 1 yard. It can't happen. I mean, not as things stand,
I think I heard of somebody actually getting an override when they were not supposed to. Like somebody that had.
What happened?
I think I heard of somebody actually getting an override to a facility they were not supposed to, and it turned out bad for somebody else. And I think there's going to be a lawsuit in the middle of the whole mess that they created.
Well, it could happen, but I don't see them because it goes through multiple channels.
Yeah.
Even if the counselor was to put somebody up, for instance, right? Let's say I'm level 2, and they say, well, you're lowering your points. Well, I have certain things that will prevent that from happening in the system. For instance, I have a vial. It's called I'm considered a violent offender.
Mm-hmm.
So because I have a vial, my points are capped at 19. The system will not allow them to send me somewhere else. And then let's say that they did. Let's say, hey, they're like, you know what? You drop below. You have 16 points, 15 points. You're now a level 1. We're going to transfer you to, one of these other prisons. CSR, which is they're like a CSR actually is the supervising. They go over the file for any action to send you out. CSR will kick that out. They're analysts.
That's exactly what their job is to make sure there's no mistakes in those transfers.
Yeah, they go through everything. It's called an audit.
Yep.
They'll audit
That's
every
what they're actually
single
called,
thing.
the auditors.
Yeah, the auditors.
Yep.
So the auditors. So if somebody got sent somewhere, he was eligible to go there.
Yep.
Mm.
And he went there somehow. Maybe I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm not saying he should have gone there, but everything must have been cleared for him to go there where he was supposed to go. Maybe there was an enemy there that they missed. I don't know, but the auditors look at everything.
Yeah.
They have a lot of auditors up and down the state. They do that, I think they're CC3s.
Yep.
CC3s, which is a correctional counselor, the third level of correctional counselors up and down the state. Audit transfers. But yeah, I mean, sure they do make mistakes. So that's pretty crazy.
Hey, and I know, like a moment ago, you mentioned that the population there is 400. Is that just your yard, or is that the levels at the other yards also?
No, the other yards are maxed out. It's only our yard.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people here because, for one, this is a non-designated city, so you have to be clean to come here anyway. Well, that's what they say, but they bring the lower level guys and they fight a lot, so they're not really clean that much. So it's kind of like it doesn't really work like that, but they say you're supposed to be. But a lot of people don't want to come to a non-designated program facility.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
It's considered a 50-50 yard. So there's people here from all walks of life here that it's a conflict for a lot of other people, so they don't want to chance it. People are scared, and people don't want to get in trouble.
That and this yard already has a bad, like this prison. On the main line, guys don't mind coming here because this is like gang headquarters, and it's one of the few, GP prisons that is down south close to home. So everybody wants to get here.
James, you want to call back?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So there you go. There you have it. Anyhow, so this is probably gonna be our last call coming up right now, and then I'm gonna take a break. And do you take calls from female? I have taken some calls, or just once from I think it was Chowchilla State Prison. I was supposed to set up another one, but I'm not sure what happened. I think things didn't work out, so it never happened. But I have taken calls from women's prisons in California. Yep, women get locked up too. Sheesh. But yeah, so anybody that likes to watch court, we'll probably be back later on in the evening. Hey, thank you, Survivor. Highly appreciate that. Appreciate that badge. Oh, I see. I asked because I'm looking to write people. Okay. All right. Yep. So they should be calling back shortly. Once they do, then we'll go ahead and continue. And I'm checking out the numbers because I have another stream going on right now with the courts. I want to see how many people were checking it out. All right.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
James. Yep.
Yeah,
we came back. The phone's a little delayed, man. He kind of gives us a hard time when we enter in the numbers and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but hey, it's what it is.
Yeah. I'm used to it already.
I survived another week, James. Man, it got rough. It got rough about on Monday, the 14th, because that was my anniversary. What was supposed to be,
Yeah.
And so, man, I had a freaking horrible day that day. It was a mess, but I feel a little bit better now.
Hey, you know what? Let me ask you something, because I was thinking about that. The other day. How you're going through, the breakup with with your wife and whatnot, and and I recall you saying that like if she came back, not in those exact words, but if she came back, that like you guys probably wouldn't get back together, because you couldn't be with somebody that would just turn their back on you. But I was thinking, like, if I recall correctly, you guys have been together for 9 years, at this point, and she dealt with a lot. I'm assuming, being with you, obviously you're incarcerated, and maintaining a relationship where you're behind bars. It has a lot of challenges, and you've gone through addiction and doing gang stuff and crimes behind bars, and and she stuck by you, when you were doing all those things. So you don't like, if she changed her mind, like, if, like, let's say she, for what, I'm not sure what she's going through right now. Maybe she's going, my possibilities are endless. Maybe financial, or she feels lonely, or maybe she just needed a break. And if she came back and she came back to talk to you and was like, hey, this is what I was going through.
Y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I was going through these things and I felt like this, but I want to work things out because she wants to be with you. What would your answer to that be?
I think as time goes by, the answer is more clear. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
one thing, like, we're talking about, I haven't talked to her in close to 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I'm completely blocked out of her life. And so I think that, you know, I feel some type of way about that, where it's like, all right, well, that's,
This is your partner that you're supposed to spend the
Yeah.
rest of your life with, and you have no part of
I have
whatever they're going through to help them get through it, or
but nothing though. Like, we're talking about, like, anybody who says that they love me would never do that to me, because they know that would drive somebody crazy. And so I believe that I completely doubt their love and commitment after something like that. Because no matter how mad I got, even if I said that I was thinking about it, I would never do that. Because love prevents me from harming that person intentionally, and if I did, I would definitely freaking realize, like, I would change it. But I mean, we're talking about almost 2 weeks of not being able to contact somebody who says that they're my spouse. And besides, she changed her last name already. She put her last name back to her maiden name.
Yeah.
And so I think about it where it's like, all right, well, if this is a break, or if this is space needed and all those other things, like, that looks like you're sending a message that you're no longer married, or you're no longer in a relationship. So why should I think so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just how I feel. And besides, like, I'm a freaking stand-up dude. I'm smart as fuck. I'm good looking. I'm driven, and I'm not going to be in here for the rest of my life. I will be out. And I look at it like, well, I don't deserve that. I deserve way better than that. It don't matter if I'm in here or not. It doesn't give nobody a right to put somebody through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look like the kind of person that I should want to be around.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. What?
Yeah. Just
I will adapt, and I will move on. What does that fool say, Tijuana Jackson? He says, pain is my what? He says,
let my pain be my path to purpose.
that's it. Pain is my path to purpose.
Yep. Let your pain be your path to purpose.
I believe in relationships. I believe in love. I believe in marriage. But I believe it has to be with the right person. Like, you have to be with somebody who's your biggest advocate, supporter, but that goes the other way also. It has to be a partnership. It has to be a team. There has to be something there, and if that's not there, if there's a disconnect there, then that's not the right person.
Yeah.
I want somebody throwing their fist in the air and freaking, say Dave's life matters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very well.
I
All
want my
right.
face cartooned on a T-shirt. You know what I mean? But so that's what it is, man. But
What do you think about that, James? What's your personal opinion about a situation like that? Do you feel Dave is standing in like his? Would you take the same approach in the same situation? Because I seen what your question. I've seen the direction of your question. You're absolutely right, because she obviously has endured and been through a lot of stuff with Dave, and any woman who does time with somebody is subject to just a lot of shit, and all the more with somebody who is messed up as we used to be. And but at the end of the day, she didn't really get a whole lot of that, because she came in and he turned his life around.
Yeah.
Pretty soon after that, so she didn't really get, she didn't have to really do a lot of that time with him.
Mm-hmm.
But so that I don't think that gets to ride the same. But definitely doing time period, subjecting yourself to, phone bills and asshole cops that visit, and being touched on and searched, and sitting out in the hot ass sun waiting to come into prison, and just having to deal with asshole vendors when you're ordering packages, or there's just so much. I remember one time I told somebody a long time ago Hey, well, I'm just trying to tell you this so that it's convenient for you when when you come, like, and they were like, if you're waiting for it to be convenient to me, just know that you'll never get a visit from me if that's what you're talking about. Because there's nothing convenient about going to visit anybody in prison. So if what you're telling me is the reason you don't want me to come today is because it'll be an inconvenience, then I'll never come. I'll never come to see you because if that's what you're waiting for a time for it to be convenient. Because there's nothing, absolutely nothing. Not the hundreds of dollars that you got to waste on gas and the $80 you got to waste on food when you're in there. Not the dealing, and they just went down this laundry list of all the inconveniences of visiting somebody in prison, and it just kind of like, wow, like to put it into that kind of perspective, So definitely, even whether they dealt with David's, nonsense as far as that stuff, either way, it's still you're dealing with something, being with somebody that's incarcerated. You've heard, some of the situation, as far as Dave's situation and stuff like that, and you had asked him that question to see if he thought, and I'm 100%, with David on that, like it's like if you're not gonna be here for me when I'm down, I've had friends in the past, and this and that. Hell, like if you couldn't be here for me when I'm in prison, you crazy as hell. Hell, if you think I would ever be with you on the streets, because the only thing that makes anybody a standout when you're in here is their ability to do this with you. Like other than that, like a woman, there's a whole world of women out there, fine women, driven women, successful women, whatever it is. There's
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But what would set a woman aside from any other woman out there that I could get is the fact that a woman, who has the ability to do this with you and hold you down when you're down. It's not about, because when I'm out there, I don't need a woman to do anything for me. I can take care of myself. I can provide for myself. Like there's so many things that I can do that I don't need a woman nowhere near as bad as I would if I was incarcerated. But what makes a woman a standout is she was able to endure all that craziness and be there for me when I absolutely needed her.
Just to love me unconditionally in a bad situation, and like when I get out of here, like I got it from there, Don't worry about it. I'll take care of us. Yeah, I got it,
Yep, I'm gonna give you back what you gave me, and that's unconditional love and support.
I'm gonna come out of here with like five degrees, a bachelor's degree. All kinds of freaking employment opportunities out there that people are offering me and Jesse. Like we have a lot of stuff going on, and it's happening. Like we got friends that have left here that are taking advantage of those opportunities, and they're living good, man. You guys have met Blue on here, and stuff like that. So it's just, I just look at it like, all right, well, I guess it's what it is, I gotta ride it out. I gotta go over it because I'm hurt over it. Like I'm extremely hurt over it. But that's because I'm human. Just because I'm in here for what I'm here for, it doesn't mean that I'm not human and that I'm not gonna go through things and mourn. And it feels like somebody died, James. That's how it's been feeling. But I have to freaking, I have to push forward. Like I said, let my pain be my purpose.
So that's why I asked you that, James, right? Because you're a stand-up dude. You know what I mean? Like and I can attest to that as far as Dave. Dave's a stand-up dude. Any woman would be lucky to have somebody like him in their life because he's serious. And you don't get a lot of motherfuckers like that in here. A lot of dudes in prison are straight dirtbags. A lot of the shit, females are talking about dudes in prison. That's true. A lot of it's true. Fools are full of shit. They're working the chick. They're just manipulate, whatever it is, But you get the ones, you get the guys that, if you could break through that bullshit, because a lot of guys in prison been living their whole life wearing a mask, bullshit, and so when they see something good in front of them, they can't even see it because they're so used to looking through lenses of bullshit. Because that's how they've survived for so long in that world, and they're in a world out there and world in here. So it's hard sometimes for a dude to let his hair down even with a woman because it's just how he's conditioned to be in the defensive and so but Dave like I said, Dave's a good dude, and so any woman would be lucky to have him because he's committed in that sense. And I kind of get that same impression from you, James. Like, I feel like you're a good dude. I know you got an awesome family. I know you love your wife, you love your kids. Like, you're working, you're handling your business, you're taking care of. It seems like you got a good dynamic with your old lady, which is awesome. Like that. Any of us in here would be lucky to have that one day with what I believe you share with your family and your wife. So, given what given what you've heard about his situation and the question that you asked him, how would you have answered that question if you were in the same situation and I was to ask you that question?
Well, you know what? So I think it would be it would depend on what was going on. Now, if she met somebody else and she's with somebody else, then it's a dead issue. That's what it is. But let's say, if I was busted and I had a woman outside and something happened to her, like let's say maybe she was mugged or, even worse, maybe somebody took advantage of her and she's going through something and she doesn't know how to deal with it. And she doesn't want to talk to me about it because I'm incarcerated because, I can't do anything about it. So if it was a situation like that where something happened to her and for whatever reason she stopped communicating with me, I wouldn't understand, but at some point, like, it's like, man, like I know she's going through something and I can't help her. She doesn't want to reach out to me, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what the correct answer to that is.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
To that is.
You wouldn't take it personal?
I definitely would. Oh, hell yeah, I would. I would.
Yeah.
That I would.
Yeah, she's a victim or something. That's a little different,
Yeah, but yeah,
we're talking about we got into an argument. And that was done. Like, just blocked, cut, everything after 9 years.
Yeah, victimizing, definitely. If she was victimized, Davey would be knocking down doors to try to get a hold of her right now, just because he does have her in his heart like that.
Yeah.
But no, we're talking about just full-blown, just selfish, freaking, just.
Yeah, playing the victim.
She don't give a shit. Yeah, she don't give a shit. What I'm going through, it's all about what she's going through. And it's like, man, fuck all that,
I think he's gonna hang up right
now. Yep, I'll give you a call back right now, James.
All right, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
All right, and 77. I'll go ahead and read up your some of your comments right now when they call back. And I did not watch the last hearing. If you're talking about the one for 5 o'clock, I didn't see that one. I did see the 2 o'clock one though. I don't think nothing that I could think of really stood out for that hearing. All right, so right now we're just waiting. A bad charge came through. What?
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado
Silas,
de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey, so if you guys got into like an argument, let's say whatever, like you guys were arguing about a color, and then when she stopped communicating with me, then on that, hell yeah, I'll be pissed off if it was something that was trivial, that wasn't even important.
Yep. Yeah, and then you heard that she took my last name off of her last name too. And I'm like, all right, well that's done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You reach a point where it's like, all right, I see an argument and I see space and all that, but when you do something like that, and she did that shit fast too. She did it in like 2 days. Yep, that was fucking fast. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's what she's letting the world know, because I can't see that. Somebody told me that she did it on Facebook, and I can't see Facebook, so she wasn't doing that for me. She was doing that to tell the world that I'm no longer married anymore. I'm not, that was just like that. I go by my maiden name now. And so that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not. But like I said, I'm gonna find somebody better. I'm gonna find somebody who loves me and is down for me, and that's gonna be that. You know. And at the end of the day, she's the one that's gonna lose a good motherfucker, and that's just, you know, there's nothing I can say about that. You know, that's it. You know, it's stressful. It's hard to do it, but it's a reality. And I've been hurt my whole life, so this ain't nothing new, and I know how to navigate it. With pain comes strength. It's just what it. It's just the way that I deal with it now is different than I dealt with it back then.
Yeah.
Before I would have been like, I would have acted up. I'd have been like, oh well, man, fuck the streets, fuck this, fuck, you know. But I'm not gonna do that now, because that's just stupid. That's the last thing I'm gonna do, is let somebody win or have that much power over me, where they're gonna dictate me staying in prison longer because I don't know how to process my emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could process my emotions. I grieve just like anybody else does, and that's that. You know.
Hey, Dead Barbie Road. Tell him it's her loss. Grace Road. Just do you. And let me see. I got a question. I got a question for you from 77 Rich Ireland, and what he wants to know. Yep. I think it's him. I'm not sure. It might be doesn't even matter. Let me see. How long is serving time? How is he? How long is he serving? Tell him, God bless you. He'll get through it.
Yep, thank you. I'm serving. Well, I go to board, and I got sentenced to 40 years to life originally, but I go to board. I've been in for 15 years, and I have an opportunity because the law changed. I go to board in 5 years, little over 5 years, as things stand right now. Yep, so I'm probably going to have to do the 20 years total. But like I said, I've already been in for 15, so that's what it is. And Jesse, my boy here, he's been in for 24 years, and he was sentenced to 25 years to life. So Jesse's going to board in about 8 months. 6 months. 6 months.
January.
Yep. So Jesse could go home by then.
So they gave you your
home by summer of next year.
So they gave you your board date already, or you're waiting for them to give you your date to be heard?
Who, me or
Yeah,
Dave?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, me?
Yeah, Jesse.
I got my board date. It was actually up until July 7th. It was actually January 28th. But then I don't know why on January 27th they granted my petition again, and they reviewed it and granted it again, which they had already done, and they granted it and gave me the January 28th. But now they moved it to January 30th, and they revisited and granted it again. So I don't know if that's a definitive. I think they might end up moving it earlier, just a little bit earlier. But as it sits right now, January 30th, and that's fine for me, honestly. That's just enough time to get everything I need done. You know, I'll be graduated with school. Everything will be where it needs to be. So if it moves earlier, that's cool. That's a blessing also. But at the same time, that time flies way quick when you're on the calendar, and I still have a lot of stuff to do as far as to present to them, for them, kind of stuff. So I feel like the time will come flying up on me. So I don't mind if they leave it right there, just as long as they're not moving it back any further. Yep.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Well, shit, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Watching my boy, get to walk out of here. That's cool though. Did you have any other questions on this?
Let me see. 77 Ridge Road. Don't you worry. You'll be a free man soon. Roddy wrote, "Good evening, everybody." Grace Road. That's why I say, just look after you for now. Don't worry. Don't worry about anyone else. Let me see. Carson's asking, how many months have they been in? Shh. I don't. You guys don't count months, right? You guys count years.
Well, let's go 15 times 12. Yeah. And you'll get my answer. So in months.
Only in the feds. The feds is how they count their time by month.
Do they?
Yeah, and the feds, when you get sentenced, you get sentenced by month. Instead of a year, they'll tell you 12 months. 2 years, 24. So They give you like 140 months, you know.
I've been in for 180 months.
180 months, huh? How many months have I been in?
I'll check it right now. Jesse's been in for 288 months.
I've been in 288 months. Wow. You look at it like that, I feel like I've been here a long time. I was all right with doing 24 years, but now that this guy got me tripping on months, geez, I want to get out of here.
Hey, how much time is that in days, David?
Oh fuck! Damn, I'll check right now.
365 times 24.
65 times 24. Oops, I messed it up. Let's go.
8,760 days.
Calculator. Mine has a calculator on it too.
Yep.
How many is that?
8,760 days. Just
James got it already. James got 8,760 days.
Yep. That's a long fucking time, man.
Yeah.
Yep. 8 times fucking
It's funny when I'm in here too with guys, so I've been in here longer than they've been alive. It's like, really?
Yep. I've been in for 5,475 days. Yep.
I used to trip out when I'm busted with people like that grew up with my kids. You know, like I'm like, damn, what's the matter with me? How is that even possible? Because I don't feel that old. I'm not that old. I'm gonna be 2 weeks, and it's kind of like, damn, how the hell are this kid grew up with this right here with me? Grew up like Isaac. You know, Isaac is my daughter's age. You know, and
time flies.
Yeah. Or kids that I knew out there, my homies' kids that I grew up like with my homie, and I remember the kids were babies, and I remember little pamper dragging little bastards running around the house, and I've been locked up with them. Like, damn, fool, that's crazy, you know, like. And it goes back to that thing like Marlene said, you know, like in your environment, your place, and it's like, well, of course, I was no surprise that this kid's actually sitting in prison with me now, because look at the stuff that was going on with when I was out there with their parents, you know.
Trip out on the people that tell me like that are like 20 and something like that, you know. It's like, damn, when they were born, I was already in the shoe. I was already in the hole, you know. Like I was doing shoe times and stuff, and it's like, man, because I came in at 18 years old, not on this term. I had another term. So I came in over 26 years ago. And it's just insane, you know, that I've been in prison longer than most people, that a lot of these guys have been alive. Huh? Then you get the OGs in here like Tito. Tito's been in for fucking like 40 years. He's been in for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
They're just like, but the thing is, you just chill though. Like you get used to it. This is not the Shawshank Redemption. Like me and Jesse, we're not like, what do you call those things? We're not in the freaking in those wood freaking things. What are they called? The things that from the Wild West days, when you got in trouble, they put you in the wood blocks. Your arms and your head stick out.
Yeah. The guillotine? No, that's not a guillotine. The guillotine, they cut your head.
Oh, the gauntlet. Yeah, the guillotine. I was like, oh shit, me and Jess are the guillotine. We're talking, having this conversation just as the axe drops, feel me? Or the blade drops. No, but, prison is different. Like,
Stocks.
Guess what? They can run us through the ringer. Huh?
I think a real life ragdoll says they're called stocks, but it might be, she's from the UK, so they might refer to her something differently than what we're used to.
Yep. Yeah, and so the thing is like we do our time and we get used to it. We get used to it. We go about our business. We evolve. We mature, and so they can keep us in. The longer they keep us in, the less we feel the punishment, because we really don't connect with a lot of the things that you guys go through out there anymore. You know, we're out. They realize that. They're like, man, these dudes are just getting used to it, spending decades in prison. Well, that's why they gave us that conjugal visiting for lifers, because they wanted us to stop calling ourselves lifers. You know, they're like, we're going to let you guys out. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to educate yourself. They're offering college programs now, the vocational trades. You know, they're trying to improve on that, because they want to get us out the door. They're like, look, anybody who should be in prison, we're going to keep in prison. But 90% of you guys don't have to be in prison any longer than you should. If once you're rehabilitated, you're no longer a threat to public safety. You've served your time. You're done. The only things that they ask is don't get into fights, don't use cell phones, don't get 115s, don't use drugs. And if you have a consistent record, because everybody gets caught in prison eventually, this is a controlled environment. You could go years without getting in trouble, but it doesn't mean you're clean. Eventually, somebody's going to tell on you. You're going to drop a kite. You're going to get caught slipping. You're going to get comfortable, and the board knows that. If you got 10, 15 years without a write-up, you're probably staying out of trouble. They're going to be able to tell. There's always some reason in here to beat somebody up if that's what you're doing. There's never a dull moment in this place.
Yeah.
That's just the realities of what it is, So, what are you thinking, James?
So we're down to about 2.5 minutes. I think this is gonna be the last one, because I think my wife just got home. So.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
James is in the closet doing a broadcast.
Well, James
I
got
told
to
you
listen
about
to his
being on
wife.
that podcast.
Yep. He messed around and end up like me. Yep.
I'll
be a mess.
And she's gonna answer the phone and.
Yep. Oh man.
I'm gonna stop combing the mustache.
It's rough, dude. Yeah, start combing the mustache. You're gonna come with your Sunday clothes on.
Yeah, we're gonna call, and the mustache is gonna be all tirado, like it's gonna look like a wire brush.
Or like one of them 1800s barber mustaches.
Yeah.
Where it's like a whip that comes down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all it is. Your whole whip is freaking just like in the middle. One of the minstrel performers, freaking James.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, so it's cool, man. But I appreciate all you guys, man. I appreciate the support, man. All the love out there, the encouragement. It helps me to come on here, and connect with you guys all over the world. You guys can reach out anytime you guys want to hit us up. You can add yourself to our tablets. It's pretty easy to do. We can email and stuff like that. I love interacting with you guys. And that's what it is, But
send a shout out to Marlene, and all the regulars.
Yep,
Maribel for us. She's on here pretty regularly, so that's awesome. Definitely a regular now.
Yep.
Also send a shout out to all our old regulars who aren't here. Yeah, go ahead.
What's up, James?
One of the viewers that goes by Carson, he's telling me to send you a video, so I'm gonna be dropping you guys a video of something that I saw in a court hearing a few days ago.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
I'm gonna need some feedback.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Once you get that video
Cool,
in the messages.
That's cool, man. Right. Yep, and hope to hear from some of you guys. It's never a dull moment with us. Appreciate you guys' friendship and support, man. And we will talk to you guys another time.
Yep. Send a shout out to Iceman, Fish Slayer, Chubby Jessica, all the old originals. Too bad they haven't been on for a while, but hopefully, if they know we're on, maybe they'll swing by when we're here.
All right, James. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, and Kimberly 619 says hi. Like I said around here, lasts like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we're out.
Lights out.
A rato.
Toasty!
Gracias.